In this video, I'm going to show you a unique and cutting-edge tactic that I myself, as well as my personal friends, have used to connect with high-value, high-conscious women through platforms like TikTok or Instagram. And this is doing it without some creepy or slimy or pick-up-y type of energy. And by the end of the video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do the same. So one of the big challenges that I've observed with a lot of men that I work with and a lot of excellent-minded individuals is the advent of social media and how it has affected a lot of people and how it has affected and skewed the way in which we begin to date each other in the modern day age. Because social media is very much about clout chasing, it's very much about lifestyle, it's very much about aesthetics. It makes it a lot more challenging for people to be able to connect with each other on a more authentic level. And with this tactic, this is going to cut through a lot of the BS, and it's going to get very quickly into the hearts of the people that you want to be connecting with. But more importantly, it's going to act as a very practical filter on how to find the right people that you want to date. So with this strategy, instead of utilizing social media to try to portray yourself as this wealthy, cool guy that's got amazing success and an incredible lifestyle, which might be okay, might be a pretty cool thing to do, but instead of leading with that type of thing, what we want to do instead is we want to lead with our desire to serve and the values that we hold close to our hearts. The number one most important thing is how you show up on social media. Of course, good quality content really helps if you have a nice camera, you have good lighting, but what's really most important is what kind of content you're actually creating. Is it valuable content? Is it service-oriented content? Is it powerful content? Is it interesting content that is unique and innovative and novel? A lot of those things are the things that you want to be considering before you start making the content. Now, it's not just about making those things, which is very important. There needs to be another element to it. And this element has to be about something that is quote-unquote high conscious. So what does high conscious mean? Well, that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But when I use the word high conscious, I mean it as if it's something where you're talking about deeper, more powerful, more meaningful values that you hold true to your heart, that you are using to be of service to the world. And when you start to do these posts and you want to focus on high conscious material, it's very important to get very clear on a niche about what you want to focus on. So if you don't really know what you want to focus on, I would spend some time to ask yourself and say, what are the things that I'm most passionate about? You could be really passionate about meditation, healthy lifestyle, maybe your church, maybe animals, maybe nature, anything that is about making the world a better place, where you are leading with your heart, where you're leading with your service. Focus on something that you can really double down on to lead within your content. For example, the content that I make has to do with improving men and making their life better and more successful. And so that is primarily what I focus my content on. And I get a lot of people that are interested in what I have to say. They reach out to me all the time. And so take some time to focus on something that you really want to show up with in your social media. So remember that women by their nature are very compassionate and caring beings. And if you can show up this way through your social media and through the type of content that you make, not only is it going to show that you're an excellent person, but it's also going to show that you care and that you want to be a better person for the world. And this is going to elevate you over pretty much most of the dating competition that you're going to be facing when it comes to a bunch of creepy, weird men sliding into their DMs and giving them some really weird pickup line that probably won't work. And the thing is that you really can't fake this. You can't fake passion. You can't fake making something that you think is going to get you laid. People can read through that stuff. You really have to dig deep and find what your passion is and find what really lights your jets. It can really be anything. And even if you do a good job of faking it, eventually people are going to see through your facade. And it's going to be hard for you to live in integrity with yourself. It's going to be hard for you to feel okay about yourself if you know that you're just doing this tactic to just get with a bunch of women. So really dig deep and ask yourself, who do I really want to show up as? How do I really, really want to serve? And that could be a whole afternoon. You could write down a bunch of things in a notebook. But once you get really clear about the things that you really like to do, that's when you really want to double down on creating content within that specific niche. For example, I like to make anywhere from 3 to 4 really professional videos a month on YouTube. Sometimes a little less. If it's a much longer video, sometimes a little more. And then I like to clip those videos and make them as short clips in my TikTok or my Instagram. So that's one method that you can use in order to make things easier for you. Not everybody's going to be a YouTuber, not everybody's going to be a content creator, but you can just do little videos here and there on Instagram. You could use something like CapCut. That's a really helpful application to use. And that should be pretty sufficient for you to be able to start to get the ball rolling when it comes to creating that type of content. So once you start to do this for a while, I would say maybe within about 2 months of doing this pretty consistently, then you're going to be showing up online as a leader, and people are going to start to see you as a thought leader within that space. So what's really cool about this tactic is that this plays into what's called the primary fantasy of women. So much like men have a primary fantasy of them wanting to be with young and fertile and attractive women, the primary fantasy of women is that they want to be with a powerful, competent, provider-like man that is capable of making her feel safe and making her feel provided for and protected. And so with this tactic, what we're doing is we're establishing social credibility. We're establishing our sense of impact. We are possibly turning this into a career, or we are leveraging this in other ways of connecting with other people, or perhaps connecting with other resources that you might not have considered before you started making these videos. So this tactic is going to play nicely into the primal fantasy that women have, but it also has the element of heart-based leadership, which is really cool. So the difference between unconscious women and conscious women is that conscious women are going to focus a lot more on your character rather than the resources that you have. Although a lot of those things are very important. That's obviously very important to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and to make sure that you can take care of other people. But conscious women want to see the quality of your character. And with this tactic, what we're doing is we're elevating our character over our status through this tactic, which is really cool. So when you've created enough of this content, generally what I find is that anywhere from 1 to 2 months is pretty solid. And even if you have maybe around 1,500 followers, that's a pretty sizable amount for you to be able to start to employ this tactic, because at that point you've established credibility, you've established consistency, and you've established a little bit of a following to show that, okay, this guy's not just spamming people in their DMs. Now what we're going to do, since we've built this audience and since we've built this consistency, what we want to do is we want to create something that is going to drive traffic to you. This is a marketing tactic that anybody that's in sales or marketing knows, that you have to create a product that is enticing with copy or has a good message behind it or is something that a lot of people are interested in participating in. So with this particular tactic, what we want to do is we want to create something engaging or enticing that is going to start a conversation for the women that you're going to be DMing. A very, very good example could be something like starting a GoFundMe. So if there is a cause that you're interested in and you create a GoFundMe and you want to go reach out to people in similar niche spaces to start a conversation, what you're going to do is you're going to lead with this type of cause that you want to support. And what's really cool about this is that it's really disarming. You're not actually supposed to be doing this to pick up a bunch of women. What you're really supposed to be doing is initially supporting the cause that you want to support. But the additional nice thing that happens as a result is that women that think the same way as you are going to be magnetized to the thing that you're doing. Some of the things that you can make charities for is for refugees, or maybe a church, or maybe animals, nature, cancer support, some kind of disease, some kind of illness, maybe some sort of restoration project that you're really passionate about. Other things, instead of creating a GoFundMe or some kind of fundraising thing, is offers for collaborations, maybe a desire to interview them, maybe a desire to share some information with them that they think would be interesting that is within the similar niche. Or sometimes just straight up saying, hey, I really appreciate the things that you're putting out as well. I really appreciate you taking the time to check out my information. Because if she's following you or has engaged with you or you engage with her in similar interests, she's going to want to have a conversation with you because she knows that there are going to be a couple things that you can connect on a deeper level. What's funny about this is that I've been doing this for a number of months. And just by putting this information out there, I've already had a number of women just DM me out of the blue without me even prompting them, thanking me for my work, or even just engaging on the type of content that I'm putting out. And so just by doing this and just by aligning with what authentically feels like you should be doing, you're naturally going to magnetize these type of women to you. in some respects, you don't even need to reach out to them. You just need to create the nice butterfly bush, and then all the butterflies start to come. Once you've created the content, and once you have this type of offer to be able to talk to women about in their DMs, whether it's money or any of the other things that I mentioned earlier, this is going to be able to get your foot in the door when it comes to engaging with the women. Because now you have a reason to talk. Now you have the reason to escalate. And the whole time it's disarmed them because they know that you care about this thing. They don't have their guards up because they think that you're going to try to just get laid with them or something like that. So this approach is very disarming, and it's very service-based, and it's very heart-based. And I found that this actually really works with a lot of people that I've met personally myself. So remember, this isn't about just having another pickup line. This is really about just connecting on a mutual interest that is a very powerful and meaningful interest. So another thing that I've found that works quite well is if you find a woman that shares similar content that's very valuable, or you think it's very healthy, or you like her lifestyle, or you like what she stands for, just leaving a very thoughtful comment on one of her posts, really encouraging her and saying how grateful you are for the type of content that she's putting out is going to mean the world to these women, because a lot of very conscious and value-oriented women are going to be doing similar tactics where they feel the call to put themselves out there through content to support other women, other men, other causes. And by reaching out and expressing your interest and your gratitude in the information that she's putting out, she's going to be a lot more interested in talking to you rather than just putting a flame emoji or liking her reels or liking her thirst traps, right? Or a woman like that's probably not going to be putting a lot of thirst traps out there. So a really good DM template that I'd recommend you use is something like this. Hey, insert name here. I love what you said about insert topic here in your post. I'm working with something similar too. Thank you for giving such helpful and valuable information to the world. I love supporting people that are putting out awesome information and an awesome message. What got you started with this? This is going to show her that you're actually interested in her information and that you agree with her information and that you support her information. And this is going to leave her DMs a lot more open. She's going to be a lot more open to communicating with you because she knows that you want to engage in the value that she's giving as opposed to the way in which she looks online. So now we have to find a way to find these women. Well, what you want to do is you want to find the topics that you're most interested in. You want to find the topics that you feel passionate about. And a lot of the times what you're going to do is you're going to find women that are engaged in similar things when it comes to maybe something that's health-based, consciousness-based, spirituality, alternative living, yoga, meditation, mindfulness, but also a lot of religious organizations as well. Like if you're a Christian, there's a lot of really, really great podcasts and pages that you will find a lot of women engaging with that you can start conversations with through that. So if you're a Christian, there's a lot of content creators that you can follow. And I've done the homework already, and I've looked to see through a lot of their following. There's a lot of beautiful and feminine and what appear to me to be very valuable, high conscious quality women that follow these pages. So some of the Christian pages that I recommend that you could get started on are Amanda Carpenter, Girls Gone Bible, The Way Pod, Susanna Friesen, Real Tate Stevens, Stay True Podcast, Ashley Hetherington, and Courtney Quist. I've also found that a lot of amazing women follow these pages too. Bella Devine, The Holistic Psychologist, Steph Marco, Justin Patrick Pierce, Laura the Woken Mind, Bentino Massaro, Dr. Joe Dispenza, The Queen Collective. So if you're struggling to find other accounts other than these and your outreach has not been very successful, and you want to find other opportunities to meet women through these outlets, it's very simple. Just go on these pages where they have a lot of following and look to see who they follow, because a lot of those people follow very similar content creators within that niche, and then just do the same tactic for them. Go through their following, send messages through those women through there, and if you run out of options through that, go through their following, and then just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. And you're going to find tons and tons and tons of creators. Really, and honestly, this method, I have never ran out of different content creators that I found that are really interesting and engaging. This is the fastest method to finding the right women to message. So to show you that this method really works and that I'm not just making this up and blowing smoke up your butt, I want to tell you about a couple of my friends where this tactic has actually worked effectively. For example, my friend Docs, who is a meditation teacher, he had been working with men, doing trauma work and healing and meditating, and had a relatively small following. It's bigger than most, but a relatively small following. And that through doing very similar work, he has met his now wife, and they work together, and they do amazing retreats in Mexico and throughout the US. And so this was a perfect example of exactly the tactic that I'm talking about. Another person who did a very similar tactic was my friend Amanda, who lives out in Australia. She actually happens to be a men's coach, and that's how I got connected with her. And she told me that her now current boyfriend messaged her doing the exact same thing. He was trying to raise some money to clean up a beach or something in Australia. It was in and around a similar town that she lived in. And they connected, and now they're dating together. So this is exactly a copy-paste as to what he did, and you can see their profiles here and that they've been dating for some time now. And lastly, I want to tell you about my friend Miranda and my friend Saeed. Both of them live together in the town in which I live in. And Saeed is a pretty popular YouTuber who has a lot of information about alternative lifestyles and juicing and healing the body. And he had been making some content for many years. And Miranda had been watching his content and messaged him personally herself, saying how much she loved his content and how meaningful it was and how she really felt connected with his message. And now they are engaged and living together in the town in which I live in. So this stuff really works, guys. These are real people with real testimonials doing the exact same thing that I've been telling you about. And as far as I know, no other content creators have talked specifically about this tactic. Maybe something similar, but not specifically this tactic. And it really works. And what's really cool about this is that you don't have to have some crazy massive following. You don't have to have 100,000 followers, 10,000 followers, even 5,000 followers. You can just have a couple thousand followers that are engaged with your work, and this method will work the same. So for your action steps, I want you to get very clear on the type of thing that you want to support, the type of thing that really lights your jets, the type of thing that is based uniquely on the way in which you want to serve. Then, I want you to sit down and make some cool, interesting, and unique content. And then, start messaging those ladies. Trust me, they really, really want you to reach out to them, because a lot of the conscious women that I've talked to are desperate for healthy, value-oriented, service-based conscious men to send them a message and make some beautiful dreams happen. Good luck, guys.